Hey, everybody. Welcome back if you're returning. Welcome if you're new here. And we are going to get another topic from the Wisdom of the Oracle. I swear, I love Colette Baron Reed's decks, they are amazing. And we have Exchanging Gifts. And this is a beautiful card. And it talks about equal give and take, reciprocity, return on investment. And oddly enough, it goes right in line with what we've been talking about this week because we've talked about being in difficult situations, having to be true to yourself, and staying in an authentic position. Well, a lot of the situations we find ourselves in that create difficult choices are because of unequal give and take. And that can be as much our own fault. Usually it is, 99.999% of the time. And it's when we start to realize, oh my gosh, I'm way overinvested in this. I have given way too much to this. We need to pause, become the observer, okay? Because our first reaction is going to be resentment towards other people, parties, companies, whatever it may be, where we feel like we've overgiven. Our first emotional perception is that you took from me. No one can take what you don't give. You allowed yourself to give more than you were receiving in return. And any healthy relationship, you are going to have fluctuations. There are going to be times when, let's say you've been in an employer for 10 years and it's a great employee-employer relationship. They take care of you, things are good, and then all of a sudden the economy hits a road bump, right? And they have to take some of your benefits. Okay, they have been giving and giving. Obviously you have too. You've been there 10 years. Are you okay with a brief period of time where the company has to protect their bottom line? They're protecting you too. And so in this situation, you can look at it and be like, look, things happen. And when this passes, we'll get our benefits back. Or you've been at a company for 10 years. You haven't had any benefits. You get 1 week's vacation still. And if you take sick leave or anything else, you don't get that 1 week's vacation. And you have busted your ass trying to move up in the company and nothing. Okay, that is not equal give and take. And we tend to be programmed with loyalty to an employer. And there are so many places that you can work, so many things that you can do to create income. You'd never have to allow yourself to be taken advantage of by an employer. If you have to move to get to a place where you can get a better job, you are worth more than that. But they're two similar yet very different situations. And it's being able to, like we talked about yesterday, take that observer role and step back and really weigh things out. Am I getting return on investment? Because if I'm investing at 100% and I'm getting 30% return, absolutely not. Now, if both parties, like the first example, invested at 100% and then one party had an issue, that is totally different. We're talking about a long-term scenario or just an obviously unfair scenario of unequal reciprocity where you wanted, hey, this is not working. So, and the thing about exchanging gifts also is we have to recognize most of us, I'm in this too, who tend to overgive are also not good at receiving. So even if the other party has tried to give to you, you have not allowed it. Should you resent them or should you resent yourself? Because if you chose to overgive, because no one can take what you don't give, they tried to give back. No, no, because I'm a martyr. That's it. I'm good. I'm good over here. You just keep everything. It's fine. And that seems extreme, but you know who you are. You know. It's conditioning from our childhood. It is encouraged by most religions to give, give, give until you can't give anymore. You know, just insanity, because that's not how you survive in this world. You have to have, you can't invest in something until you're sucked dry and dead. I mean, but that's that mindset. And again, it goes back to, I shared a story in my book about when I was in first grade, and I had done chores to get candy at home, you know, and I was so excited about this candy, and I was like really proud of myself because I'd worked hard, and I had like two pieces that I took to school with me that day, because I thought, man, I usually get hungry right before lunch and I can just eat my candy, and I didn't think it was a thing. So like 10ish in the morning, and lunch wasn't until like 11:30. I'm sitting in class. I'm hungry. I get my little piece of candy out and I eat it, and the teacher's like, "What have you got?" I was like, I've got candy. I did chores at home yesterday and I got candy, and I usually get hungry before lunch, so I brought it with me so I could eat it, and so I've got candy." And she was like, "Well, did you bring enough for the rest of the class?" No, they didn't do my chores. But I mean, like, I was called out, and I'm like 6, 7 years old, in front of the whole class, and made to look like this selfish ass because I was eating candy and didn't bring enough for everyone else. And if you'll recall, we've talked about how the subconscious mind is just absorbing everything from birth to age 7, ish, right? And so I'm like, oh my God, I cannot have anything for myself. I have to give everything to everyone else because I can't have anything for myself. Now, not true, but my perception in that moment was like, oh my God, that's horrible. I look like such a jerk. Of course, all the other kids are looking at me because they want candy too. They hope I have enough for everybody. In the back of my mind, I'm like, why would I give my candy to people who didn't work for the candy? I had to work for the candy. And apparently, this is just how the government gets us ready to be taxpayers. But my point being, I actually didn't eat the rest of the candy. I was fighting tears because I had been made to feel so small, when before I was very proud of what I had done. I had earned candy and it was mine and I did it myself, and now all of a sudden I'm a selfish ass and I'm humiliated in front of the classroom. I threw the candy away because now it was not a symbol of something I had accomplished. It was a symbol of me being a selfish ass. That is how impacted we are in our childhood and how those things carry with us. And depending on the generation you grew up with, your family, things like that, if you were shamed for wanting to have things for yourself, you are most likely an overgiver and not very good at receiving. So, on that end of the exchanging gifts card, we need to look at where that came from. Just And it could have come from something just like the story that I shared, where in that moment you didn't expect that, like 40 years later, you'd still remember like it was yesterday. But you do. And it has shaped your behavior subconsciously from that point forward, because you didn't like how it felt to be called selfish, and you didn't want to be seen as that person because you believe yourself to be a good person. So instead, you have given and given and given to everyone in your life to an extreme. to the point of self-detriment and refuse to receive anything in return because you don't want to be selfish. And that's something that we really do need to look at. We cannot be upset with other people about that. That is our own baggage, our own choices. Now, what we do need to look at is our boundaries, setting healthier boundaries. Where have you let people cross those lines and give and give and give and give, even though there's nothing coming in return? What is driving that? What part of you feels like that makes you a good person? Because we are good people already. You don't have to give away everything you have to be a good person. Treat people well. Share what you have. Don't give everything. You worked for it for your own stability, and you need that to move forward, to become what you're meant to be. And if we give it all away, then we're never going to make it to where we need to be. Not to mention, you're going to be a big ass ball of resentment, and you're going to be so angry you will never vibrate at the frequency that you want to be at. Because you're going to be over here like, "Arr," even though you chose to give. And that's what we have to accept, that responsibility. That was my choice. And the beauty about taking responsibility for the choices that maybe weren't the best, but we still made them. It's done. It's back here. That chapter is already published. Can't edit it. However, going forward, we have blank pages to write to finish the story. Every day is a blank page that we get to write, and we can write it very differently than the day before. But first we have to figure out why we wrote that shit to begin with, and then learn how to rewrite it so that the rest of our book is more balanced. Exchanging gifts should be a balanced energy, no matter the relationship, whether it's professional, personal. You know, what we give to should give back. And it doesn't mean that I give you this and you give me something physical in return, something tangible. It doesn't have to be material. If I give you attention and you appreciate it, that is an energy exchange. If I help you do some chores and you give me a hug of gratitude, that's an energy exchange. If I help you do some chores and you tell me to fuck off, I didn't do it right, that is not an energy. Well, it's an energy exchange, but not the kind of return on investment you want to get. That's like when you look at your retirement account and the stock market crashed. That was not a good return on investment. And it's learning, again, we talked about separating from your emotions and becoming an observer, weighing out the situations in our life where it is not an equal exchange, and learning that there are places that we should not invest our energy because it's not coming back to us. And in that situation, you're just dumping it down the drain. If what you're doing is rewarding to you, that's an equal exchange. Even if the other person does nothing, but you invest in them and you see their growth and you feel fulfilled just from that observation, that's an energy exchange. It's still good. But anytime you feel sucked dry, empty, insulted, resentful, you're over giving. And no one can give what you don't take. Okay? So, I hope this helps. And I will talk to you soon.